Hey guys, in this video, we're going to be taking a look at perhaps the most controversial topic in all of fishing, fish tags. No, I'm not talking about tournament ID tags, I'm talking about these. And you may recognize this as something that you put on your big game animal, but here at certain lakes in Alberta, we're forced to buy one of these or win it through a draw if you want to keep a walleye. And as you can imagine, this causes all kinds of spirited conversations amongst anglers.
Morning, dickhead.
Hello, moron.
Which side are you on? Maybe you're like most people who just buy the tag because it's the only way, you like the taste of fish, and you could really care less. Or you think the program's great and you see it as a real benefit. Or you think the whole program is just a cash cow pile of bull that we're all being taken advantage of. Well, to shine a light on this situation, let's take a closer look at the program and 3 key elements that is the key to this walleye fish tag dilemma. Starting right away with key number 1, the math. Fishing is a very dynamic sport and it's taken in part by almost 700 million people across the globe every year, capturing about 40 billion fish. So to ensure that there's enough fish to go around, conservationists and biologists have the daunting task of trying to reach sustainability and allowing these fish time to mature so that they too can go out, spawn, make more fish for us all, aka having more supply than demand. But here's the problem. Our population on Earth is exploding. According to a recent study, the world's population is projected to hit 10.5 billion people by 2086, an increase from 8.2 billion here at the end of 2024. And to parallel that for just a second, we hit our first billion in 1804. So how do you handle this many anglers targeting the same fish? Well, it's a sheer numbers game. For example, here in the greater Edmonton area, there's about 1.5 million people. And I know that isn't much in the grand scheme of things, but there are only a handful of lakes that are within an hour drive of the city, so this causes immense fishing pressure on the population. And it's hard to thrive when you've got that many people targeting the same fish. I mean, it makes sense if you think about it. Years ago, there was what? Less people, more fish. So there was no need to really establish limits because they already had sustainability, or so they thought. The challenge is that our Alberta climate is consistently much colder than most places with walleye populations, so it's harder for them to spawn properly and in the kinds of numbers that it would take to bring the species back into abundance. Never mind the fact that most of our lakes are ridiculously shallow and getting shallower every season. Let's take a closer look with key number 2, the science. According to a recent post from Aikens Lake Wilderness Lodge, if you catch a 50 centimeter walleye, that fish is about 10 years old. 65 centimeters, 20 years old. And if you've ever come across a 30-inch walleye like this one, that fish is 25 years old. Plus, remember that the females are almost always the bigger ones. In fact, a recent study done by Arrington Wilderness Island, only 1 out of 99 fish caught in that caliber were male. I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is that it takes a big fish to make a big fish. So the next time you lay your hands on a 65 centimeter walleye, realize that that fish took 20 years to get that size. That's incredible. But you also have to realize that that fish has been eating bait for a very, very, very long time. Why else do you think the bigger ones are so clever and tricky to convince sometimes? When this program began in 2006, the objective was set out to achieve sustainability while dealing with declining populations and more anglers coming into the picture. While this program currently only involves walleye, it is super easy to see the trend and the potential for other species requiring the same program, which we do not want. And people ask, what about restocking efforts? And while there are efforts going on in the province right now, they're focusing a lot more on trout than they are walleye. And if you look here, it'll say 10 lakes compared to 249. So it makes you wonder, why is this not getting done to more lakes? Is it really that hard for fisheries to pump out 1 million fish? I honestly don't know. I don't work at a fish hatchery, so if you know the answer to that question, please let us know. But it makes you wonder. Wrapping this all up with key number 3 is the logistics. Okay, so I want to go fishing and harvest a walleye. What do I have to do and what does it cost? Better yet, what happens to the money that we as anglers pay for these licenses? Firstly, you can apply for walleye tags at various lakes across the province. And much like hunting draws, sometimes these can take up to a couple of years before you get drawn, depending on the lake and the number of applicants, obviously. Along with the sale of undersubscribed tags later on, it is possible now to get drawn for walleye and buy undersubscribed tags that didn't have enough applicants for the quota. So you can actually end up with a couple different licenses throughout the year, which is really cool. And speaking of sales, the ACA, or the Alberta Conservation Association, reported an income from the fishing industry of $4.9 million in 2024, just from fishing. It's a lot of tags. So after all that, what are we left with? If you want to go fishing here in Alberta, harvest a walleye, you're going to need an SHL tag or a special harvest license tag. And you can buy these online. You can get them at retailers, same places where you buy your fishing licenses, but you're gonna need one of these depending on the lake that you go to. Yes, there is still lakes out there, like the Lakeland area, where you can go and you don't need a tag. So that is still nice to see, but those lakes are 3 hours away from Edmonton. No wonder there's more numbers. But keep in mind that these tags are size specific. And from what we hear, wildlife officers are very sticky on making sure that you have these on your fish the second that you have the opportunity, okay? Do not, under any circumstance, be caught with a walleye in your possession without a tag in its mouth, unless it's from a lake where you don't need one. If catch and release is your game, then don't worry about it. You can catch and release these fish to your heart's content. Now, knowing all this, do you think it's a cash cow? Do you think it's a good program? Do you see the benefit? Do you think this program's gonna work? Is it gonna flop? Let us know what you think about the walleye tag program here in Alberta or wherever you're from. In fact, like our friend Alive 75 says, in Oregon, we don't have physical tags, but all salmon, steelhead, and sturgeon harvests are recorded on an app and reported to the ODFW. In conclusion, I don't think this program is going to go anywhere, and that's pretty easy to see, especially anytime soon. And looking at the 3 key elements that we just focused on, I kind of see the need for it, right? There's just too many damn people. Believe me, I don't like paying for it, but I like the taste of walleye that much better. Plus, who doesn't love catching monster walleye? Like this one. In fact, click or tap the screen right here, and we'll show you how to catch a 30-inch summer walleye. I'm Bryce from Bloodline Adventures, and I'll see you in the next video.